Hey, welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Any chance we could get your camera on, or is it not a good time?
Uh, Not really a good time.
It's all good. It's all good. That's not a
Where are
problem.
you? Oh,
Uh, where are you logging in from, Danielle? Is that how you pronounce your name?
yeah.
Okay, Danielle.
Um, I'm actually in the women's dorm.
Oh, you're on
I
campus.
love
You can just come down here.
that.
That's awesome. Well,
Wonderful.
welcome to campus. How's your summer so far?
It's all right. It's pretty good.
Good,
Um,
good.
Getting some work done.
Perfect. Well, let me do a quick introduction. So you can see his name on the screen, but this is Professor Tyner. So he is the head of you tell me, history and international relations, both of those programs?
Even more than that, it's politics, history, and international relations. History and international relations are the two majors, but we call it PHIR, and it's pronounced fear.
Fear. Oh, I
Oh,
love that. I
Right.
love that.
okay.
So for attending tonight, you get a $500 scholarship. So fantastic choice on that. We'll make
Ooh,
sure it gets
Good
applied
work.
to your account. So thank you for joining
thank
us.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So there'll be more Zooms throughout the summer, but you do only get one scholarship. So you can attend as many as you'd like to, but we will just apply the $500 for you. And then since so far you're our only one, we might have more people that join us. But if you have questions, please feel free to jump in with a question or throw it in the chat.
Oh.
Otherwise, we're just super glad you're here. So, Tyner, take it away.
Thank you so much. Daniil, can you tell me anything about yourself and why you jumped into this Zoom besides scholarship reasons?
Um, I'm an international student to say. I live I live in Mexico,
Hmm.
but I was born here. So,
What?
um,
Go ahead.
it's just my life coach told me that I would be doing international relations, and so I was just wondering what that like implied and what that would look like.
Perfect. Thank you. That's a great start. Whereabouts in Mexico are you from?
I'm from Chiapas, which
Okay.
is all
Yeah.
the way down in the south.
Excellent. That's really good to know. So, do you have we should welcome Brooke, I guess, as well. Yeah. Hi Brooke, how are you doing? Brooke, I've met you once before, so we're starting with Daniil, and I mean, I think both of you are probably here in some ways for the same reason because you have a kind of a global consciousness in some way, right? I know Brooke loves to travel. Daniil lives in Chiapas, so I'm going to give you a little spiel and tell a little bit of story if you don't mind. And then at the end, we can ask some questions, but please feel free to interrupt me. But I'm just going to talk until you do, or until we have about 5 minutes left, and then I'll give you some time to answer some questions. That sound all right? Okay. Yeah, thumbs up works well. Either digital or visible will work for me. So I'm going to share my screen really quick here. So just to start with, I think on the left here, this PHIR, Politics, History, and International Relations program, these were just phrases that seemed to me to be relevant and an important part of what we do and what we teach here. And this is not just in the majors in my program, but in all of the humanities. And I'll tell you in a second a little bit why I think those are sort of important ways to think about what you're getting out of this kind of education. But just the some of the nuts and bolts to start with. This program, whoops, sorry, this program has a couple majors in it, and that's history and international relations. It sounds like both of you are leaning towards the second. And really, just to say up front, they connect very deeply, where all of these majors and minors are really about learning about the world And of course, international relations leans a little bit more on the present and sort of engaging with the present world in many different capacities. History is, of course, trying to go back a little bit and explain, but they, of course, connect. And our international relations classes are somewhat history classes and vice versa. But people in my program, they will take a major or a minor in either one of those majors. And the minor is only 6 courses. It's just something to, and as well as the pre-law minor. It's 18 credits, really quick, and pairs well with a lot of other things. I keep doing something there. Sorry. Okay. Pre-law, social science education, and of course, we also team up with the education department. So if you were going to be a secondary ed teacher or something like that. But so far, very, very briefly knowing both of you, I don't really think that's especially what you're thinking about. We do foreign languages and Adventist colleges abroad, which I'll tell you about if you don't know all about already, because I'm sure I think it's probably a really good opportunity for people that are interested in travel. Let me introduce you real quick to the faculty. I'm really stoked about the people we have teaching for us in my program this year. 4 PhDs, two master's degrees. They're teaching in their expertise fields. So Brian Baskerville teaches geography. Brendan teaches in international relations, political science. He teaches a class on terrorism, and he teaches a class on U.S.-China relations, which is a really, obviously, an important subject right now. Alejandra Hutchison teaches our Spanish courses. Willie Logan on the bottom left there, he is someone who was just in Chiapas, Daniil, actually this summer. So you'll want to talk to him about that in preparation for teaching a Central American history course. And then on the bottom right, we have Leslie Working, who's teaches our American history course and also women's history courses. And we occasionally have people from other programs come in and help us with certain aspects of getting through the major. But those are our faculty. They're really good. You'll hear this in anywhere you come to Union. You're going to get the benefit of a smaller classroom. You're going to have a lot of hands-on relationship with your teacher. But these people are also just dynamite teachers. They're experts, but they're also enthusiastic and they're patient. And I think you'll really enjoy working with them. So I'm not going to pause right now for any questions, but please know you can't interrupt me at any time. You can just raise a hand or something. But I want to tell a little bit of a story here really quick. It won't take long, but it can be kind of hard for me to explain what the value what the most important value is in the majors that I teach. We'll talk about jobs at the end. These are great majors for jobs. That's not the issue. But there's something that's deeper that I think is really important that I think I might be able to tell you a little bit more about with a story. And when all of us in fear are thinking about talking to students about what they're getting in our program, it's see the world on some level. And I mean that like see the world, understand the world, move about the world, but the world of time and space both, because there's a I think probably most of us spend most of our time floating along, and me included. Everyone kind of does this. All of our experiences suggest that we're the center of the universe, and we float along the river of time, kind of sort of lazily, which is fine. A lot of your life, that's fine. But once in a while, I think everybody needs to try to figure out, where are you, right? Where are you in this river that's taking you forward? Because you're moving along it, whether you're aware of it or not. And I think one of the wonderful things about the stuff that I love, the ideas I love in my program, is what it's really doing in any of these majors is it's asking you to say, look, once in a while at least, or probably more than that, if you want to really have a rich life that is engaged with the world, you need to take stock and you need to say, where is this river coming from? Right? And maybe there's a way to stop being shocked every time I get to someplace new. Because if you can look back and you can have some sense of where you are in time and in space, it's not like you can predict the future, but things become knowable in a different way. And I don't think everybody needs to spend their whole life studying history or international relations, but I think some of us really do. And I think those of us who do study these things casually or as a profession have a really important role to play as citizens of the country and of the world. And I want our country and our world to be filled with people who know where they are in the river of time to some extent. And that's a kind of a vague, hopefully you understand my point there, but it's kind of a vague metaphor for what I think is really important. And then I'm going to give you one little extra story here. So can I get a thumbs up, physical or digital, if you have heard of Custer and the Battle of Little Bighorn? 2, not sure, Danielle. Okay, there's a couple, just I'm not gonna give a history lecture here. It's just a couple details that you need to appreciate the story that I'm about to tell. And basically all you need to know is this. So you can see this guy in the middle with the mustache with the guns ablazing. This is 1876 in what was then the Dakota Territories, not yet states, right after 10 years after the Civil War or so. And the United States had discovered gold in the Black Hills, and it was moving to push Native Americans, the Cheyenne and the Sioux, out. That's to make a long story short, but essentially by force so that the settlers could move into that area. And there was big resistance from famous Native American warrior Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. And I guess the only thing that's really important to know about this story, so I can go on, is that General Custer and his 7th Cavalry, they move into the Black Hills, and their job is to sort of force these people out. They are stationed at a fort called Abraham Lincoln. And the most important thing you need to know is they go to this battle called the Battle of Little Bighorn, which becomes famous because it doesn't go like all the other, what we call them, the Indian Wars. It doesn't go like all the other ones. In this battle, all of Custer's guys die. Sometimes they say the horse survived or something, but like everyone who goes to the battle dies. Is that part clear? Okay, because that's the only thing you really need to know for this story to make sense. Because I want to tell you about a particular person. His name was Harry Cook Chenoweth. He's like 25 years old. His older brothers had all fought in the Civil War, and they had all these stories that he didn't have access to. So he signed up, and he gets sent to the 7th Cavalry to be with Custer's division. And they ship out to the fort right before the battle. And everybody wants to go to the battle, as bizarre as that sounds, because they think it's going to be really easy, and there's going to be glory, and there's maybe some plunder that's going to be involved. So everyone wants to go to the battle, but they have to leave. I think it's like 153. There's like hundreds and hundreds of guys are going to go to the battle, maybe 1,000 guys. 153 people stay at the fort to guard the railroad and the supplies and stuff. No one wants that job, bizarrely. So there's this moment that I know happened in which General Custer is going down the line of everybody who wants to go to the battle. And I don't know if you know what drawing lots are, drawing straws. Like you have a short and a long one, and you can't tell which, and so you grab one, and it's kind of a way of just randomizing the selection because no one wants to stay at the fort. So the general goes down the line, and 150 odd people pick short straws, and to their disappointment, stay at the fort, right? Okay, so is it actually bad news that they stayed at the fort, though? Why not? Brooke, this is your question. No, you're typing it. I see. Sorry, you didn't know you'd be getting a history quiz. All right, Brooke's typing. I'm ready. I'm waiting. Here comes the answer. I hope Daniil's watching too. So the question is, why is it actually good news to draw a short straw in this situation? Drum roll, please. Don't write an essay. Don't write an essay, Brooke. Just give me the bare bones. Brooke's already mad at me. Well, I'm going to start talking and then you just hit enter as soon as it's ready. I'm not going to answer the question though. So you still have to hit enter at some point, but I'm going to keep going with the story. So for some reason, it's good news that you get the short straw, right? So everyone who goes to the battle gets killed, right? And that's right. And probably it's almost certain that if you draw the short straw, you die. But that is a good, you nailed it. That's the reason. The reason is you don't die if you draw the short straw. It seems like bad news was actually good news. And so there's this guy, Harry Cook Chenoweth, and he's 26. He draws a short straw. He goes, "Oh man, I don't have stories to tell my brothers." And he survives. And that seems like kind of a nothing statement, but he meets this Norwegian immigrant afterwards. Her name is Ella. They have 12 kids. And oh wait, here I think I have one of their 12 kids is this woman at the top left. Her name is Clara. That's my great grandmother. So the reason I like this story is it's all about me, which is not the point. But the reason I like this story is because when we usually talk about history, or we try to explain the news or whatever, we talk about all the causes that make something happen. But this story is a reminder because even if you don't know it, there's 50,000 of these events in everyone's family tree in which someone made a decision that if they hadn't made the decision, things would have been dramatically different, right? So like I imagine this moment where the straws are being passed out down the line as a moment in which like there's this guy reaching out to grab a straw and my DNA is literally in the balance of that action. And there's nothing in his history that tells him to pick left or right. That is just a kind of a random occurrence. And that doesn't tell me that I'm special or anything like that. It's luck. I mean, like the people who won this, the people who lost this battle, I wouldn't, they weren't doing good things. It's not like I'm rooting for the people just because they're my ancestors here. The point is that every single moment is filled with all of these trees, right? In which people make decisions, things go one way or another. And I think like having that sense of every moment that is in the present is really important sometimes to take stock and to say, look, the things that I do now, even the little things, are going to have cascading effects over generations and huge changes will happen because of that. That's my family history and that's my family tree, a story about my family tree. But all of history is like this, right? And we can't I think it can be real easy to imagine all of us do it, that our country is the only country that needs to be learned about, that our place is the only place that's important, that what's important to us is the world. And what anything that you're going to study in this area, as you both know, what travel does for you as well, is it blows that up because all of a sudden you realize travel in time and space, right? If you travel in space today, you can't go anywhere without learning, oh, people do different things here than I do. And I didn't know that people did that. And that is the experience of travel all the time. And it's a really important experience, right? Because then you say, oh, well, the way I do things isn't just natural. It is a choice. It's a product of a bunch of decisions, which means we can make other ones, right? If you do the same thing in space, if you travel in time, you travel in time, right? You come to the same conclusions. Oh, they used to do things very different back then. I thought that was normal or natural or always the way things were, but in fact, there are choices. And when we know that we can build different futures. So, oh yeah, this is kind of a jarring transition here, but this is I want to talk a little bit about actual travel in this program because I know that's important to both of you. This is in the Lake District. We just got back from actually, if I just show you the beginning of this again, because the conversation that's happening around this circle here, this is Tanya Cochran, who teaches in the English program. And there's a poet called Wordsworth, and this was his home, and he wrote like all of this romantic poetry inspired by this landscape. So they were reading Wordsworth on top of that mountain. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about study tours. And I think Brooke and I, we've talked a little bit about this. I know Daniil sounds like you're an international person. So I'm very excited with what is happening here because it's kind of new. We've been doing study tours at Union for a while, but they've started to formalize the process. And so the last 3 years, I was lucky enough to be a part of tours that went to different parts of the United Kingdom. This is just last month in the British Museum. This is in Cornwall. This is in Oxford, and this is in Wales. And in 2 years, we'll do that trip again, but I think we're going to go to Ireland this time. But next year, it looks like, and this is a little premature, but it looks like there's definitely going to be a tour to Central America. And then there's a tour probably going to Prague to Central Europe. And the reason I'm telling you this is it's really a lot harder to travel, especially internationally after college. And the amazing thing about these tours is we teach 3 classes on each tour. You have to take 2 of them, so that's 6 credits, and it's cheaper than if you took 6 credits during the semester. So like it's a deal that you can't beat it, and you can use whatever you use to pay for tuition. You can use to pay for these tours. So that's something to just put on your. I mean, talk to me about or Bruce Forbes, who's in charge of all the tours. But talk to me if you want to be on the waiting list for those tours going forward, because there's been quite a lot of interest. I'll just a couple more pictures. This is 2 years ago. This is in Cornwall. This is a statue of King Arthur, because we're at this like ruined castle where supposedly he grew up. I love this one because this is in Wales, and this screen is big enough. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is our entire group up at the top of this tower. The photographer was amazing who got that one. Secondly, in addition to study tours, ACA, Adventist Colleges Abroad, comes through my department, through my program. And if you don't know about that, come talk to me or Willie Logan about this, because this allows you to take courses here at Union, like you register at Union, you pay your tuition at Union, and then you go to a school abroad. And there's a whole bunch of options. This is the one. Well, this is not the school itself, but this is in Florence. There's a Adventist school in Florence. There's one in Argentina. There's one in Austria. There's one on Lake Geneva in France. And you can do a semester or you can do a year abroad, and it's not even an issue of transferring your classes because you're taking your classes here. So it's like you know in advance that you're gonna get those credits. So that's another really easy way to both advance in your degree, especially if you do like something like international relations. But even if you're doing just generals, you can advance your degree abroad and still be a student of Union. So that's another sort of part of seeing the world in the process of being this major. And then I just added this slide, and this is an image from Gaza that just came out this week. I think like I talk to a lot of people, and the world is hard to understand, and I don't understand most of it. And I talk to a lot of people who find, politics is so nasty and it can be so confusing, and who to vote for and what's going on in Ukraine and why are people fighting so constantly in between Israel and Gaza and stuff like that. And in my mind, what I think is really valuable about studying in the classrooms that you'd be studying in with this program is it's like that being on that river and you're floating down the river, And it's not like sometimes the things you're going to find as you go around a bend in the river are not pleasant. But as you begin to engage with the world and explore the world in time and space, you're not going to constantly be shocked and confused as much as you might otherwise be. Of course, it's still impossible to think about suffering in war, fully. But at the same time, I think it's a real privilege, and it's a relief to be able to translate world events and politics in the present, and to have some sense of what's going on, and to feel like I'm not totally in the dark all the time. And that's, to me, one of the biggest benefits from what I've studied for my career that I want to share. And it's not like, every course of study that you could take at uni is important. And what's important about this for me is that you can accomplish a certain level of familiarity with the world, where you know where you are and you know where you came from to a certain extent. Jobs. I should say something about jobs, and then I'll have you have some time for some questions. Um, I just put on this first slide. This is Adam, who just finished his social science education major. So he's teaching in a high school across the street. I get to observe him teach, which is always super fun. So, like, when you think of a history degree in particular, but sometimes both of those degrees, you might think of teaching primarily, and definitely some of our majors go to grad school. Probably a few more go to law school, end up teaching in secondary elementary ed. Another natural kind of fit are these museums, libraries, archives, historical preservation work. As you get into the international relations side, I think more the natural kinds of obvious trajectories are things like nonprofit, development work, international relief agencies, those kinds of things, diplomacy, and politics. But that's just like if you make this major your career. And I think one thing that's really important for me to say is you do not have to make this major your career to get a job. So I just went to the last 2 or 3 years and picked out a bunch of people, alumni from our program, who have told me what they're doing now. And if you look at this list, you don't have, I mean, just look at a couple of the parts of this list, and you'll see that, like, these things are not, they don't have any obvious relationship with history or international relations. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Both of these degrees tell employers that you have a certain kind of mind that can analyze trends, that you can communicate well, that you probably can write well, and they're valuable skills. And I know this from experience, because it's like everyone has gotten a job pretty much since I've worked here right away if they've wanted one. And I know that sounds like an incredible claim, but I can prove it. It's not as hard to get an entry-level job in any industry with a history or IR degree than one might think. So you don't have to go to grad school, you don't have to go to law school, you don't have to go into teaching or work in a museum with these degrees. And I don't know either of you very well now, but my sense is that you might want from, like, an international relations major more the opportunity to get to know the world, to travel, to learn some stuff, and then we'll see. And if that's the case, I think this is still a very good major for you, even if you're not going to, work at the UN or something like that. I pretty much said all this stuff. If you are interested in seeing some of our activities, or I haven't put the new trip pictures up yet, but just take a picture of that QR code and sign on to our Instagram there. So Daniil and Brooke, that's my pitch, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you had. So I'm going to stop talking and wait at least 15 seconds, because that's what I'm supposed to do. And you guys can tell me if I can help you with anything else.
I don't know if you saw Brooke's comment, but she said when you pulled up that picture of the ACA students that she knew all of them because she'd been in Italy with them.
No way. That's right. I forgot you were already in ACA, Brooke. That's right. Okay. Were you in the picture? No, that would have been funny.
That would have been funny.
That's really cool. Yeah. I haven't been to the campus in Florence, but like I'm dying to visit it because it's just gorgeous. And I wish your audio was working because I'd have you tell us about it. Um, it's like, as I understand, it's up on a hill, right? Is that right, Brooke? The Italian campus, and you can kind of look down into Florence. Good grief. That sounds about right. Yeah, we got to get a study tour going to Italy. That's definitely long-term goals. What else?
Brooke, I think you're unmuted. When were you in Italy? Oh, nope, still not working. All right.
It's all right.
Okay.
If you take my number down there, take the QR code, and I will also answer a message through Instagram if you send it to me. I'd love to get to know you guys as you enter the program. Maybe just a couple other things. This semester we have kind of a lot planned. We do film nights every 2 weeks, and that's offered for extra credit if you're in one of our classes, but they're also just we try to pick good films, and it's in this room and it's at this time, and you can bring food, bring friends. And I like to encourage people to do that. It's kind of fun to be in the room with people, again, in that kind of environment. And the screens are big, so it's a good place to watch a movie. And then we're gonna do 3 or 4 brown bag sessions, which is just a way of saying like a loose kind of informal discussion that I think both of you might be interested in. The first one, I'll send you a calendar invite, but it's in August. Willie Logan is going to talk about his trip to Mexico this summer and how it's coming into his class. So I think both of you would probably really benefit from going to that. We'll definitely let you know. It's something the whole campus will be invited to, but probably it'll be just a few of us around a table, and he's gonna talk about the trip and talk about what he learned and how he's bringing it into his class that he's teaching this fall. And then in September, we're doing a brown bag on study tours in general. So all of the study tours that we've done will have representatives, and so you can kind of hear the plan as it's being made for the future. And then in October, right before the election, big election coming up, right? Presidential election. Leslie Working is going to present on the 19th Amendment, women's suffrage. I don't know if she's going to make any direct connections, but it's just that it's topical because it's about voting and citizenship and those kinds of things. And then we may have one more in November. We're not sure about that, but so once a month, and then the film nights are every other Tuesday, starting with the first Tuesday in the year. So I hope you'll both come to those things. Anything else?
You should tell them really quickly that you're in the new amphitheater. So this is in the basement of the Dick Administration Building. So if you guys are doing campus tours, or Daniil, you're around campus, that's where he is located. It's a pretty awesome room.
Oh yeah. They spent a lot of money on this room, and it used to be horrible. There was like these seats that were too narrow for anyone to fit in. The tables were too low. But now we have these 3 screens, which you can sit anywhere in the auditorium and you can get a direct view. The audio system's really good, and the chairs are comfortable, and there's like outlets around the table. Yeah, I love this room. Daniil was actually there today. What do you know? All right, so you can picture this exactly. And if you take History 157, which you will, I'm sorry for if you take my major, you'll be with me in this room, and we'll talk more.